Good morning, friends. And today I'm going to be partially just going on a rant. But before I get rolling on the rant, I'd like to just open up a healing field so we can be working with the energies as I'm ranting about them. So if you'd like to just state out loud is best. I connect to my deep self. I connect to my higher self. Connect to my highest self. And you don't have to say this out loud, but just recognize deep self, highest self is one self. Three selves in one. And they're all self. Remember that. It'll be important later and it might be on the test. Okay, the next things you can say out loud are, I ground myself to the healing center of the earth. I open myself to the healing power of the One. I let go of anything not useful to me now. And I choose to work with the seventh dimensional beings, the Hathors. I've been working with them for years. It's gone well. There were parts where I didn't go well, but they've gone well the whole time. If that makes sense to you, and if it doesn't, write it in the comment and I'll see if I can answer it. I ask the higher self to take us through the portal of time to the event that would be of the highest good to release and integrate at this time. And I invite all souls affected by this event to return to the event to release and integrate the energies of the event for themselves. And I ask that we all be placed in a field of protection. And upon arrival at the event, I ask the higher self to assist all of us to release and integrate all energies of this event gently and easily, fully and completely, on all levels and through all space and time. That is the healing field we're working with today. If that's all you want from today, come back later and we'll complete the field. Okay. I wrote a post on this, and I think the post is really good. I wrote 2 posts today. I thought they both were really good. But the post related to the tarot cards that we got, it was very succinct. So if you want it succinct, go read that. If you want a slightly expanded version, listen to this. So we got the Death Rebirth card. And for some reason, as I've had tarot cards read to me, I pulled tarot cards for myself, I've read tarot cards for others, there's always this feeling of contraction, or there's often this feeling of contraction related to getting the Death Rebirth card. And it may relate to the only thing that is a greater fear than the fear of death for some people is the fear of public speaking, which is kind of a death. Because in order to become a public speaker, especially like if you're publicly speaking to the world through the internet, to all your virtual friends, the person who was afraid of that needs to let go of those fears to become the person who can do this. And it's a different person. Yeah, there's the deeper self is the same self. But the different person is the person's perception of themselves as their little self. And over time, hopefully, what this process leads to is us growing into our self. And doesn't it feel good when you allow yourself? So let's do it again. When you allow yourself to go from this self, afraid of public speaking or afraid of elevators or afraid of politicians, which I suggest you might want to keep that fear, but, or your fear of someone else being in control of what you think, what you feel, what you do in this world that's yours. Like, and to go from that place of like, oh, I don't like the way this world is going, and go, whoa, wait a second. This world is going according to my plan, or someone's plan that I adopted, possibly through hypnosis. So someone said, take the pill, take the pill, take the pill, or take the whatever, and we went, oh, I must do that because I'm afraid, and the pill's going to make me be not afraid, or make me realize I'm not afraid, or make me feel like I'm not afraid when I am afraid. And so when we come out of that, I'm just this little fractal of a distorted universe. When we come out of that and we go, wait a second, there's my deep self, I'm connected to that. There's my higher self, I'm connected, I'm within that. And there's the highest self, and I am definitely an aspect of that. And I'm an aspect of this little dinger. I better look at this, just in case it has to do with me having a okay, I will answer that later, and I'll take off the dinger so you aren't looking to see your phone. Oh, did my phone ding? Pavlov's response. Okay, kitty. Hopefully she won't be rubbing too hard against the light fixture that's making me look healthy. And, okay. Life can be distracting, especially when you have a cat. Do you need to go outside? Come on, don't run away. Come with me. Let's go outside. Matter of fact, let's just go out this side for now. Or okay. I'm doing my best to stay with the energy that I was feeling earlier, that I wanted to really do a video in that energy, but I think that energy is almost all integrated already. And I was really feeling my power. And I'm feeling my power now, but it's all big and a lot of space for it. So I'm not feeling like it's pushing me out. I feel like I am out. Oh well. It'll possibly happen again, and then I can do it when that's happening. So let's go briefly through these tarot cards. So the Death Rebirth card represents the universal principle of detachment and release. It's through letting go that we are able to give birth to new forms. Cutting through old binding patterns allows us to let go of the old, the Piscean age, the Piscean fish, and give birth to new or unexpressed parts of ourselves. The Aquarian fetus-like figures. Death is the Scorpio symbol in the deck. Scorpio has 3 symbols which represent 3 types of transformation or death, rebirth stages. The Scorpion represents that part of ourselves that is willing to protect or take care of ourselves. During times of change and letting go. The snake reminds us that in order to transform, we must let go of old identities in order to be able to express new ones. And the phoenix or eagle reflects the overall vision and perspective that is needed in order to become even more of who we are. The bird within our nature is the spiritual essence that is always free, vital, and irrepressible. That's what I've tapped into today. And I'm just checking. Oh, I hope this comes out loud enough. I'm doing my best. Okay. The crown is the universal representation of expanded consciousness. In this card, the Death Rebirth card, the crown is the Egyptian funeral headdress with a phoenix emerging from it to remind us that death itself is a rebirth experience. So that part of us that died being afraid of public speaking to that person that became an influencer on a YouTube channel, that person that was afraid of public speaking obviously died, even though you could say, you're not publicly speaking, you're speaking to yourself on a computer. And it's true, I'm looking at myself as I make the video. And it's the same self that you'll be looking at when you watch the video. But that self that's afraid of public speaking was probably also afraid of publicly speaking on a YouTube channel, even though it didn't exist at the time, except in maybe someone's consciousness. That is the Death Rebirth card. But we didn't just get that card. We also got the Tower card. Ooh. Tower card is about things crumbling. Our structures crumbling. Again, it's a transformation card. And William Law, he said something or wrote something, and somebody thought it was useful enough to repeat it, so I'm going to repeat it because the person who wrote this book thought it was useful for them to repeat. Now it's maybe useful for me to repeat. I feel within me a consuming fire of heavenly love. And if you tune in, if you really actually, rather than hear my words and make some story up about what I'm saying, but if you actually listen to my words and attune yourself to them, you'll actually feel what I'm saying, which is much more useful than making up a story related to what I'm saying. Projecting your perception on me and saying, oh, this is who he is, this is what he's saying. No, that's a projection of you coming back on yourself from what you're thinking. But if you're listening to me and you're tuning to what I'm saying, you're also feeling things, if that's okay. And if you have to run away, that's okay too. I feel. So feel it if you want. I feel within me a consuming fire of heavenly love. Which has burned up in my soul everything that was contrary to itself. And transformed me inwardly into its own nature. May have to move around a little bit to move some of those old stuck energies as I'm just a failure. I'm just no good at what I do. I just couldn't please my parents. My parents died disapproving of me. I can never get over it. It just was horrible, and they just criticized everything I did. Whew. And then I let it go. And then I just went on and did all the things I wanted to do, all the things I wasn't being told to do, many of the things I was told to avoid. And I went ahead and did them all and found out for myself which ones were useful and which ones were not useful. And I chose not to jump off a cliff with Amy Richards' brand new put together hang glider. I had made a decision before I watched Amy crash. And I think it could have been fear of dying. That could very well have been the reason I chose not to. But another part of that choice of not jumping off that cliff with Amy's hang glider attached, locked and loaded to my body while hurtling it through space with no clue how to work those flappers. But one of the reasons was Amity tore the knees out of his jeans, and I had spent quite a few dollars for those jeans that I had purchased from my, babysitting money or paper route money, and I wasn't gonna tear up my jeans that I'd spent so much money to get because I wanted to look cool because I was a teenager, 17, whatever. The tower is a symbol of the universal principle of healing, renovation, and restoration. Because this card looks so violent, it has often been misinterpreted. The tower is a symbol of the change and awakening that is required to dismantle that which is artificial, false to fact, or conditioned, possibly hypnotically, within our natures. This is the church we go to. These are the commandments we live by. These are the rules of society we need to abide by. These are all the rules, and we're going to give you the rules because our ancestors lived by these rules, and when they didn't, they had horrible things happen to them. And so you're going to live by these rules, these constricted rules about a God that will smote you if you step out of line. Boom, you've been smoted. And this God's just watching over his creation, it's got to be a guy, his creation. He's just watching over his creation, just looking for somebody he can smote. Because that's the way male guy gods are. They're smoters. They're butt kickers. You step out of line, I'm smoting you. And if you were brought up in that tradition, there might have been a bit of fear. There might have been a bit of grief. There might have been a bit of anger. maybe the righteous anger of God, where God can be violent and smote you. That's how maybe we made that association with anger and violence, is because the story was that God created everything and God was a male, so could get away with destroying his creation using violence, just like collapse this whole town, kill everybody in it, smote the heck out of them. Or we may find that that's a God we can let go of and choose to have the divine consciousness be male and female, which it shows up in creation. Everything's male and female. Got to work together. Not necessarily get along, because it's a polarity. All polarities are complementary, but they don't always agree. And as part of that consciousness of the divine, we don't have to agree. I think that's where I'm going to leave the Tower card. I think that's when I'm going to jump into the power that released from within me today. The power that I realized so fully yesterday when someone was speaking to me as if they were representing my consciousness by using the term and we, and we, and we. And I just went, whoa, I'm backing away from this we shit. Because this we shit isn't me shit. Me shit is me shit. Your shit is your shit. And we're responsible for our shit. And we're responsible to speak. And so I say we are responsible to speak. No, I am responsible to speak from I am. Because is there an I in team? If you spell it the way I do, which is TIAM, then there is an I in team. And if somebody asks you, is there an I in team? You can go, yes, I put it there. Because I am that I am that creates the reality in which I live. And you can say, but don't you feel kind of bad about the reality you created? Yes. Yeah, I really messed up this time. Let's just face it. I've really not done a great job for the last 13,000 years. If I'm going to take responsibility for how it appears to be war after war after war after war after war, destruction, 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 that doesn't work for me. So, what does work for me is me. Not an upside down me, which is we, just me. Now you may say, but don't you promote the consciousness that all is one? Yes, I do. All is one. Every aspect of that consciousness is one. You are an aspect of divine consciousness, but so is everybody else. And when we feel disconnected from that self, that is our deep self, our higher self, our highest self, our connection with the one self. It's also called self. It's one big self. And when we separate from it, then we lose the perception of our part in the larger picture of things. But when we connect with ourself and we connect with this larger self, then we feel the self. The self, 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 the self. When we allow healing to take place in this one, it has ramifications in this one. Of course, it would have to. I thought I was going to be more hot under the collar, but by the time I got to the place where I had been hot under the collar, I had integrated all the hot under the collar energy, and then I was just expanded and filled with light. You can't stop these things, especially right now. Right now, this world is just blossoming. You may say, but what about this? What about this? What about BBB or CCC or DDD or CDC or WHO or Joe Blow? What about... How is your consciousness? That's all that matters. Your consciousness, my consciousness, that's what changes the world from my perspective. Focus, consider, like I'm doing, focusing on this self. And the changes that this self makes then assist the other selves, possibly if they want to change, to make their changes. Work here. Ground yourself to the healing center of the earth. Open yourself to the healing power of the one. Connect with your deep self. Connect with your higher self. Connect with your highest self. And let go of anything not useful to you now. And if you want some help, call in the Hathors. They're in a kind of an emergency room of healers. Okay, that's enough. Gosh, I'm figuring I didn't do bad. I'm under 30 minutes, so it's not going to take 2 hours to upload this. Last part of this is this. I ask that the higher self assist all the souls that had returned to this event to combine with that part of their souls that had remained at the event and bring that combined soul back into their body in present time with all of its wisdom, power, clarity, compassion, creativity, and kindness. And with love and joy and peace, I ask that all souls ground themselves into the healing center of the earth and open up the portal for the delivery of the new energies that are coming into the earth at this time. And I ask that these energies be brought in now. You might want to be attuned when you are bringing those energies in, because they're big, wonderful energies, world-changing energies. And we ask that they be activated. And I let the universe and beyond know that this has been done, and that is good. All right, that's it for today. From my end, that felt like a good one. I hope it serves you right. I hope it also serves you well. And I hope that the changes that you've been imagining are for your highest good take place, so that you can perceive yourself as part of a large, large consciousness that is working with it all. All women now can change, now must go. Connect to yourself. The answers are there.